he's gone. Because now he has self-realization as to things what he needs to work on through playing these games. And I think that was what Coda was best representing through these games, was what maybe what our narrator had to say for himself. Salutations viewers, my name is Game Dame and welcome back to another one of Game Dame Let's Plays with The Beginner's Guide. We have delved really into the back of what we believe that Coda is thinking, or at least the narrator believes, and he showed off his work. And him showing off this work, I don't really think he was listening to Coda and like what he actually wanted. So with all of this happening, and now we're back looking at the machine who refers to himself as Coda. And he was getting a lot of great feedback on his video games, but now we're talking to him. Put down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something
without his permission.
I really felt like I'd done something good. Like
I understand.
Like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
So what happened?
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made.
Before he disappeared.
So let's take a look.
He's gone. So this was the last game that Coda ever made. The Tower. So I understand what the narrator was trying to say, because obviously they were just trying to help a friend, but sometimes you shouldn't be nosing or making assumptions into someone else's business, because that is their business. It was probably a lot for them to...
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the Tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world.
Because maybe he doesn't feel like
cold game.
He belongs. Like, you have to consult, you have to talk to the person to see what they're comfortable with. I understand what you were trying to do, but at the same time, that might have not been something that they were probably comfortable with.
Actually has a maze in it.
Whoa. Oh.
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of annoying to deal with, but he doesn't want you to... It's like he's distancing himself more, because he doesn't want you to enter his mind any more than you've already been entering it. So that's probably what he's doing.
It's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end.
Maybe it's because he didn't want to leave his comfort area.
That game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
To stay away.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
I'm not sure why Coda would do what he did to have this here. Oh, shoot. But I think what he's trying to say is, look, I want you to give me more thought. Maybe it's something like, with the amount of time that this takes, it's like, why couldn't you give me this amount of time? Or just have been there or something. I have no idea. This is a very interesting way, because you could take this in a multitude of ways. You could take it anywhere. It has multiple meanings, but you won't know until you ask the person.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem.
Not every problem is meant to be fixed.
But I
That's
can open
the
this
thing.
door for you, so let me do that.
Not every problem should be fixed. There's the switch. Sometimes.
Was I a failure for not understanding this game?
No.
I don't know why
It's like
I
a
would be.
person's
It's not like
mind.
everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why.
This is a reflection of Coda's
I remember,
mind.
It's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew. It wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
I mean, sometimes you're peering into his mind right now. Like a labyrinth. Confused. Dark.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed.
Maybe you were put... I don't think it was like you have failed. Maybe you failed... Maybe you see that you failed to reach out to this person.
Where
to
did
reach
I
out...
screw up?
To reach to Coda. I think you screwed up by not asking him, but there's probably a much deeper meaning. Dear Davey, thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you to not speak to me anymore.
Stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did.
Because you took your
I
games.
poisoned it for you.
I wonder at times whether you
ever
think
told you
I'm
this,
making these games for you.
But when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
But it wasn't your decision. You've so infected my personal space
And
that it's impossible. I did
people who
begin to
played
plant
them,
solutions in my work somewhere
They
hidden
treated
between
me
games.
like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say.
There was an answer, a meaning.
Even though I was showing
Would it
your
make you
work, it
any
was-
happier?
I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe? Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them? So he was adding the lamppost. Maybe he said that, but I couldn't remember. Would you
And then you
simply let
stopped.
them be what they
And
are?
I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself.
When I am around you, I
And
feel
as soon as
physically
that
ill.
happened, there was no feeling at all.
You desperately need something,
Nothing.
and I cannot give it to you.
Less
I
than
literally do
nothing.
not have it.
What does that mean?
Struggling to come up with the new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just part of the process. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine. You're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing that you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
Oh, and when you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything. So now we're back in an even darker room.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again?
So,
Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me?
you're
Because
you're
I know that I did
projecting.
an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help
getting
me. Please
smaller.
give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
He was projecting. He wanted to feel something. He wanted to feel something, and through these games that his friend made him, this is the epilogue, he was trying to find meaning. But he was projecting himself and projecting his feelings onto him, and it was making it toxic for him to even create these games anymore. He never talked. He just did. He just went.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
Sometimes the best sort of acceptance is self-acceptance. You don't need other people to tell you what to do. But it always feels nicer when you have someone telling you that. When you have that sort of praise. When you have that person being like, yes, you're great. What you're doing is fantastic. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are any less worth it in someone else's eyes than in your own. You are
Solution.
what you want.
Solution.
You need to accept that there are some things that don't always have a solution. Or it could take years and years to work up to that
Someone
solution.
had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate.
But I don't know
Wouldn't
if
have
he
told
was
so many
desperate.
people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
He could have just, it could have been exactly that. It could have just been like he likes the concept of a prison. So if you were telling other people that he was depressed, are you reflecting yourself onto what that person had? It's like I keep saying, it's projection. You're projecting what you think of
Even
another
now,
person of what you
the
think
disease
yourself.
is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
I don't think it's being a shitty person. I think it's, but I can understand that mindset. It's more so discovering what has happened, discovering a part of yourself. you're making discoveries. Something that you may not know how to channel correctly. No one knows how to channel their inner human emotions. They're always tough, and it's always going to be hard. And it will take some time. And the solution will always be there in some way, shape, or form, but it's not going to come easy. And sometimes there actually isn't a solution to something, and sometimes that is the solution.
Other than validation.
That there is none.
What would that even be?
To search for validation.
It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
It's hard to imagine. This is very impactful.
What now? I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
He's gone. Because now he has self-realization as to things what he needs to work on through playing these games. And I think that was what Coda was best representing through these games, was what maybe what our narrator had to say for himself. But he could never figure it out on his own. He needed this sense of accomplishment in order to have an end goal or a solution to these games. But after a while, Coda couldn't be that person to be there for him anymore, because he was just self-projecting his issues onto Coda. At least this is my thinking as to what happens. And Coda couldn't take that kind of responsibility, even though he wanted to be there for him. Sometimes when you put someone else down to the point, he probably kept just saying, like he was saying, the narrator was saying, it was like he's depressed, he's only making these games because of certain reasons. But that's not the case. He's doing them because this is like his own personal library, like virtual diary. And sometimes he made a great point. Like, sometimes the game is just what it is. It's not always meant to be playable. It's always, maybe it's like any sort of avenue that you take as a person. This could definitely just be his way of just working on something because he enjoys it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a playable game. Some people think anything that you do, anything that you can create, can be sold or played by other people. Sometimes it's just there for one purpose. Or it could be for the person just to put everything they want into it without making money off of it. Something that they like to do that doesn't necessarily have to be something that someone else thinks it has to be. This game really makes you think. Not only on your own personal feelings, but what you do about other people's feelings. Wow, this is going crazy with my green screen with the blue. Whoa. The mind is a crazy thing. The mind is a lot like this huge labyrinth. Constantly. Wow. Do we just keep going up? There's always going to be something in the way. There's always going to be a start and end. But there's always going to be different paths. But it could also just be like, turn back. before R.
Turn back from this cave. You said,
This project would not have been possible without the following individuals: Matthew Brait, Ryan Roth, Helena Herron, Richard Flanagan, Jesus Higueras, Lydia Nelson. Oh, god damn it. Turn Back. Written by Helena Herron, performed by Helena Herron and Ryan Roth. Additional thanks to Aviva Pinchas. Oh god, there's a lot of people. This game really hits the nose on mental health. It really does. So what is exactly this a beginner's guide to? A beginner's guide to what? A beginner's guide to the human minds, human emotion, being human. It's just the beginner's guide. This game seriously hits home on a lot of different levels. It hits home because of how we feel as everyday people. And to see both sides of it, to see oneself, the narrator, like embrace the humility, maybe not so much the humility, but embracing what he thought was right at the time turned out to be a very wrong thing to do. And that he was projecting himself onto his friend Coda. And sometimes that can do more harm than good. But like the mazes, there's a million different paths that you could have gone down, but sometimes you just gotta follow it through, and while it may not always be the best decision, you learn from it. You don't go back down that same path. You just keep moving forward. This game was really, really interesting, and I really enjoyed that you guys enjoyed playing this or watching this with me, because, I mean, there's a lot of things that makes me want to reflect when I'm playing this game about who I am as a person and how I present myself in front of others, and how what I say or do could have a huge impact on someone, that I could potentially lose someone. So we always have to be mindful about what we do as people, and always be mindful or know that every action has a consequence. Thank you guys for watching this while I play this. Gives us a lot to think about. Whether you want to think about some stuff or not, I definitely will. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Highly appreciate your time as always, especially with games like these. And if you guys haven't done so already, please not only subscribe to my YouTube, but follow and subscribe on my Twitch, twitch.tv/thegamedame. I have nothing more to say. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.